What's up, everybody? Team Extreme Angling Machine. That's us. My name's Tim Hale. I'm going to be your host. Thank you for joining me. Hit the subscribe button. 3, 2, 1. You have plenty of time. Thanks. Alright, cool. Just get that out of the way. Today, talk about fishing. Why? Because that's what this channel's for. Duh. For all you pro anglers out there, bear with me on this, okay? This is Fishing 101, and you might even learn something yourself. You might not. It don't really matter. This is for the beginners, okay? This is what this is for, so people can learn. There's a lot of different fish out there. But today, we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite fish. Catfish. Why is the catfish my favorite fish? I'll tell you why. Because you don't know if you're going to get a 2-pounder or a 50-pounder in the unknown aspect of setting that hook and watching your rod just rainbow down. Oh man, it's like when a big buck walks out in front of you. It's just adrenaline. Amazing, because then you know it's time to fight it. It's time to fight it right. Alright, so we're going to talk about 4 basic things today. When it comes to catfish, we're going to talk about the time of the year that you fish for them, where they're at in that time of year, the depth that they're at, the structure they're holding on, and the bait to use. So, let's get into it. Catfish. Most people don't know this about catfish. Catfish are actually relatives of the shark. They're a virtual swimming tongue. Okay, you notice they don't have scales, they've got slime. Okay, they taste blood in the water with the slime on their body. Just like a shark. Okay, so they're descendants of the shark, and they're ambush predators just like a shark. Catfish are very cunning, they're very coy, they're very shy creatures, they really are. But they don't hunt like your average freshwater fish. Where the catfish, they sneak up on it and they just suck it right in. Nothing that the fish could do to ever get away. They're not like side swipers like crappie or sand bass. So, let's get into this here. Time of year, the toy. We're going to get into the toy right here. The springtime, just like with every fish in freshwater lakes, they're going to be spawning. You're going to catch them in shallow water. You're going to catch them on just about anything you throw in the water. And you're going to catch them between 2 and 6 feet of water when catfish are spawning. Okay? That's really easy. That goes for just about all fish. Summer. The summertime, you're going to find catfish in deep, deep water. Why? I'll tell you why. Because catfish breathe a lot easier. They get the influx of the water through their gills a lot cleaner and a lot easier when the water is cold. The water is colder in the deeper parts of the lake. Make sense? It's just common sense. Understand? So, in the summertime, when it's hot, they go deep where it's cold. Okay? The wintertime. In the wintertime, this is where it gets a little fun, because in wintertime, they can be in shallow water if the conditions are just right for it. They can be in 4 to 6 foot of water. I've caught them many times in the wintertime this winter, catching them in 6, 7 foot of water, because the water stayed cold long enough, but it wasn't so cold that it made them immobile. They don't need to eat as much either in the wintertime. It's a fun fact. In the fall, you're going to find catfish in the creeks. You're going to find them in the creeks before they go out in the deep water. Catfish also have a winter spawn. They do spawn in the winter. Not all of them, but most of them. Blue cats definitely do. Channel cats do. Flatheads, not usually, but they can, but they usually won't. Okay, so in the fall, you're going to catch them in the creeks most of the time. And you're going to catch them also in deep water. In the fall and winter, you're going to catch them, period. I think that's probably the best time to catch them. And obviously, the spring because they're spawning. But when you actually have to try to catch a fish, deep water for catfish most of the time. Okay, all of this, the spring, summer, winter, and fall, and where they're at directly relates to the depth that they're at. So that's one of the other topics that I was going to talk about. The depth relates to the time of the year that it is, and the time of the year relates directly to the depth. That's just as simple as I can put it. Okay? The bait that you use for catfish, the bait is real simple. Okay? You don't have to get fancy with dough baits. You don't have to get crazy with stink baits. And bleh. Even though that Danny King does work pretty good, gotta say. But anyways, use the main dietary substance that the catfish are eating. Here in Texas, it's shad. Shad are the best thing to use for catfish, period. Don't care what anybody else tells you. In freshwater in Texas, shad is where it's at. Now, that's not to say that I don't like using perch or brim, whatever you want to call them. I like using brim. I like using them whole. I like using them alive. You hook them right behind the dorsal fin, and just let them sit there and do their thing. You know, I don't like them to be bigger than my hand most of the time. I love my shad. My shad to be gizzard shad, big fish. But those perch, they don't need to be. They don't need to be. When I use a shad, I don't usually use the shad whole either. I usually cut them up. Because by doing that, you actually release the pheromones that are all up in every fish. You release that into the water. The blood and all the guts and stuff like that. I don't need to go into all the gross stuff, but catfish love that smell. And that the pheromone that comes out of the sacs of the shad can be very, very vile if left in a bucket for too long. Trust me on that one. It's pretty bad. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the structure. The structure that a catfish is holding on is directly indicative of the lake that you are in. A lot of lakes that hold catfish do not hold structure. They do not have trees and stumps and tires. They have what they call like unnatural structure, which is people, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but people sinking trees and throwing tires in the lake and, you know, hot tubs. I've seen some crazy stuff. But they have to have something that they can hold on when they're spawning, which is, it only makes sense that they're going to go to the nearest natural thing, or the nearest thing, whether it's natural or not. Let me rephrase that. Okay, so in my lake here in Texas, we have lots of trees, we have lots of stumps, we have lots of everything. We have rocks, we have sand, we have everything. Every kind of mineral you could think of is in this lake. And when it comes to the springtime, you're going to find them on the grass beds. You're going to find them in the twigs. You're going to find them in. It's going to look like Jaws, this little fin, right across the top of the water. And as soon as you see that, you're going to see them. They're going to start rolling over one another. Catfish spawn, and they spawn heavy. They get in there like a big ball of snakes. It's crazy. Crappie, sand bass, they come in and they do their thing. You know, they leave. Catfish just sit there. Catfish stay with their eggs longer than any other freshwater fish. Bet you didn't know that. As a matter of fact, I didn't know that until just a little while ago whenever I called a buddy of mine. He was telling me about it just a couple months back. Anyways, so all of this will help you catch more fish, and I guarantee you, if you just stick to the basics, like my dad always said. He passed away, rest his soul, love you, Dad. You stick to the old school way, you're always going to do better. Always. Now, I'm going to show you one thing real quick. And this is a rig that I use all the time. I use it for drift fishing. It works great. I use it for bank fishing. It works great. I use it anywhere. Tight lining, it don't matter. This rig is really simple. Okay. Basically, all you're going to do, here's your pole. Here's your line. Okay. Line's coming down here. At the very bottom of your line, you're going to tie your weight 1.5 to 2 foot up. You're going to put a 6 to 8 inch leader with a 3 to 5 aught circle hook off of this, and it's going to hang there 1.5 foot off of your weight. Catfish do feed on the bottom, that's true, but they don't feed directly on the bottom. They troll about 1 foot off of the bottom. So when you drop that weight down there, bam, there's your weight. Your hook is sitting about right here.